Are you able to say at this time, if we continue what you have laid before the Congress here as a strategy, do you feel that that is making America safer?
Sir, I believe that this is indeed the best course of action to achieve our objectives in Iraq.
Does that make America safer?
Sir, I don't know, actually. I have not sat down and sorted out in my own mind. What I have focused on and been riveted on is how to accomplish the mission of the multinational force Iraq.
Is all this sacrifice bringing about a more secure America?
Well, I've thought more than a bit about that, Senator, since September. And though I continue to think it's a question perhaps best answered by folks with a broader view and ultimately will have to be answered by history, I obviously have thoughts on it and on the importance of achieving our objectives in Iraq. Iraq has entailed huge cost. Our men and women in uniform have made enormous sacrifices, over 4,000 of them the ultimate sacrifice. And the expenditure has been very substantial in numerous other respects, including the strain on the overall force and the opportunity cost in terms of not being able to focus more elsewhere. Having said that, there is no longer a ruthless dictator in Iraq who threatened and invaded his neighbors and who terrorized his own people. Beyond that, the seeds of a nascent democracy have been planted in an Arab country that was the cradle of civilization. And though the germination of those seeds has been anything but smooth, there has been growth. All of this, again, has come at great cost. I recognize that the overall weighing of the scales is more than difficult and believe it is best done at this point by someone up the chain with a broader perspective. Ultimately, it can only be answered by history once the outcome in Iraq has been determined. Having said all that, I believe the more important question at this point is how best to achieve our important interests in Iraq, interests that do have enormous implications, as I mentioned, for the safety and security of our country, 27 million Iraqis, the Mideast region, and the world, with respect to al-Qaeda, the spread of sectarian conflict, Iranian influence, regional stability, and the global economy. I do believe we have made progress in important areas in Iraq over the past year, and I believe the recommendations Ambassador Crocker and I have provided are the best course to achieve our important objectives in Iraq.
My clock is moving pretty quickly. It was a fairly simple question. Does that translate into a greater security for those of us at home? I point out this morning indications that up to 80% of the Americans just don't accept the premise at this point in time that it's worth it. Can you now just in simple language tell us, yes, it is worth it and it is making us safer here at home?
Senator, I do believe it is worth it, or I would not have, I guess, accepted. You know, you do what you're ordered to do, but you sometimes are asked whether you would like to or are willing to take on a task. And I took on the task of the privilege of command of multinational force Iraq because I do believe that it is worth it, and I do believe the interests there are of enormous importance, again, to our country, not just to the people of Iraq and the people of that region and the world.
Mr. Ambassador.